It's one Bob talking to another. Bob the Bopper O'Brien, KDES 104.7. And Friday, April 21st, 8 p.m., McCallum Theater in Palm Desert. It's a concert to benefit Gilda's Club Desert Cities, a nonprofit group helping cancer victims. And the celebrity guest on stage that night will be a role model and hero of mine, Bob Newhart. Welcome to KDES 104.7.
Thank you, Bob.
When you do your performance, is there any button-down comedy that you still use from the old albums?
I'll probably do one or two of the old record routines, because I know that's one reason people show up. The audience kind of tells you, what routine they want.
Now, it's nice that you're coming to town. We're also giving away, just out this week, Season 3 on DVD of the Bob Newhart Show.
Oh, is that right? Oh.
Yeah, we're giving them away all week and again next week. And do you have any special memories about that Season 3?
Yeah, as a matter of fact, the commentary we did some time back, and Jim Burrows, who directed several of our shows and then went on to Taxi and then went on to Cheers, he came in and we kind of reminisced. Peter Bonners came in and Marcia, and we kind of talked about some of the shows and how they came into being and some of the behind-the-scenes stuff.
Now, I don't know if you have a favorite episode, but my favorite one is the Thanksgiving episode of the Bob Newhart Show.
That's pretty much everybody's. I mean, that's what the feedback I get is that we call it the Mugu Gaipan Show.
Mugu Goo Goo, baby.
Mugu Goo Goo.
Chinese baby food, yes. Knock, knock. Who's there? It's the turkey. That's the turkey who? Don't cry. Obviously, I've seen it before.
Yes, I think that's in Season 4 because I was talking to the people who put together the DVD, and they had me say which show. The exact title is Over the Hills and Into the Woods or something like that. Oh, you got to include that because that's the one I most often am told about.
We have that episode to look forward to when Season 4 comes out on DVD, which I'm sure won't be long from now. How did you get so adept at working with a telephone and doing your comedy that way?
I don't know. I had George C. Scott asked me that one time. We were playing golf. We both belonged to the same country club. And in that gruff manner of his, he said, How do you do those? How do you do those telephone things? I said, well, George, I just, I ask a question, and then I wait long enough for the reply, and then I ask the next question. And he said, that's amazing. That's absolutely amazing. The great thing about the telephone routines is the audience supplies the unheard part of it. They feel like they're part of the routine. They're not just sitting there watching it. They're involved in it.
Now, you're, of course, known for your comedy roles, 2 huge hit sitcoms, but how did the serious role on ER come about?
That just came out of the blue. I got a call from John, the producer. He outlined, he said it's a 3-parter, and he outlined what the story was going to be. And in as much as I hadn't really done, I always call that show my first intentionally dramatic appearance, because I've done some that were supposed to be comedic and wound up being dramatic. And I thought, wow, gee, if they're willing to take the chance, I'm willing to play it.
Once again, we're conversing with the legendary Bob Newhart here on KDES 104.7. And what can you tell us about Morty Flickman? That's the character you play currently on Desperate Housewives.
Well, Morty is I was intrigued by the show itself, by the story behind the show. That Mark Cherry, who created Desperate Housewives, was a writer on The Golden Girls, and that is one of the best written shows ever on television. I mean, it was just nonstop, and he couldn't get arrested for like 10 years. He couldn't sell anything. Several of the networks, I think, it turned him down on the Desperate Housewives, and he went to ABC, and they said, okay, we'll take a chance. They weren't even sure. They said, we're not even sure what this is. I mean, is it a comedy? Is it a soap opera?
It's a little bit of both.
It is, yeah. It kind of makes fun of the genre, They don't take themselves too seriously. I was really intrigued by it. And then when they called me, they could have gotten anybody in the country to play Morty, and I was kind of complimented that they thought of me first.
Now, I know you have a book coming out this year. Can you give us any what we can expect?
Well, there are stories about funny things that have happened along the way. I did a movie called Hell is for Heroes, and I tell the story of the making of that movie with Bobby Darin and Steve McQueen, and how Bobby and Steve didn't really get along, because I think Bobby felt he was going to be the star of it, and then they brought in Steve. So there are a lot of stories connected with that, and then the making of Catch-22.
In which you played Major Major.
Major, yeah. Yeah, I was Captain Major, and then they promoted me to Major. Shooting it in Mexico and the kind of surreal atmosphere of Catch-22. And then there's stories about, like, some of the routines, how the driving instructor came into being, jobs I held before the record, how the record came to be, and how totally unprepared I was for the huge success that it was when it came out. It's about a lot of things, and maybe some things I've learned along the way for young comics starting out, and some of the mistakes that not to make.
Well, again, Friday, April 21st, 8 p.m., McCallum Theater, Palm Desert, the legendary Bob Newhart coming to Coachella Valley, and it's been a pleasure talking with you here on KDES 104.7.
Well, thank you, Bob.
And again, for ticket information, 770-5678. The greatest hits of the 60s and 70s, KDES 104.7.